faith of peace and tolerance and great diversity. And if you permit me, or I should say, اسمح لي, بعد إندونيسيا سافرت إلى مصر وهناك درست عربية في جامعة الامريكية في القاهرة، وهذا في سنة 1975 و76. وسافرت إلى الأردن وفلسطين والقدس وتونس، وبعد مصر ساكن في الشرق الأوسط تقريبا 6 سنة، لكن الآن أنا أجوز. أنا كنت طالب وشباب لما درست عربية، لكن الآن نسيت أكثرية اللغة. كسلان، لسان كسلان. متأسف، لكن ممكن إن شاء الله سوف أدرس عربية مرة ثانية إن شاء الله. عفواً. Now, don't tell the folks who don't speak Arabic what I said, okay? But I did spend time as an undergraduate at the American University in Cairo in the 1970s, and time spent with classmates from Egypt, from Jordan, from Palestine, and around the world, who taught me that whatever our differences of nationality or race or religion or language, there are certain aspirations that we all share: to get an education, to provide for our families, to practice our faith freely, to live in peace and security. And during a 25-year career in government, I was privileged to serve in positions across the Middle East, as a political officer with the State Department and as a CIA station chief in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, I saw how our Saudi partners fulfilled their duty as custodian of the 2 holy mosques of Mecca and Medina. I marveled at the majesty of the Hajj and the devotion of those who fulfill their duty as Muslims by making that privilege.
A traitor, which I'm not saying, but that's one of the options, and he did this all willingly and knowingly, or he did it unwillingly and unwittingly, which means he is naive and does not understand. He has the inability to discern and understand how to walk in those kind of environments, right, which makes him completely unfit to be the director of Central Intelligence.
Man.
Wow.
John, 888-565-1470, if anybody wants to get in. John, if I understand you correctly, you just said, and I know you qualified it with the conversion to Islam back in Saudi Arabia, I guess in the 80s or 90s. We'll get into all of that. We want to dissect this thing. Isn't the main reason. He happens to be a Muslim. But are you kidding me? The head of the CIA is a Muslim? I mean, for real?
That's correct.
Okay, yes. Now
we can talk about that as you would like.
Well, can I ask a question?
Let me now. You mentioned Team B2, and that's 19 of us, and we're both privileged to be part of the amazing group of national security experts. And I mean, did you run this by anybody? I mean, are you sure of what you're saying out there? Because none of us feel like being waterboarded or audited or anything crazy like that. We got enough problems, but if we're going to be saying definitively, and I mean, the other side is going to say, "Show me the evidence, show me the evidence, show me the evidence." You're comfortable in your analysis, your research.
Yes, I am. It's not really research. This is the facts of the matter are confirmed by U.S. Government officials who were also in Saudi Arabia at the time that John Brennan was serving there, and have direct knowledge. These are men who work in very trusted positions. They were direct witnesses to his growing relationship with the individuals who worked with the Saudi government and others, and they witnessed his the conversion, his conversion to Islam. Now, as you know, this shouldn't, that in and of itself, again, shouldn't be shocking to people, because Mr. Brennan has made public statements. As a matter of fact, there's an article that was done by Jihad Watch that came out, I believe, yesterday, but it may have been a couple of days ago, where Mr. Brennan, I mean, they have the clip where Mr. Brennan specifically says during a public address, which, by the way, this speech he was given was sponsored by the Islamic Society of North America, which is, the leading Muslim Brotherhood entity in North America and a Hamas support entity, Hamas being the terrorist organization. And so he said during that speech that he has learned and gets his understanding and his worldview in large part from Islam. So it shouldn't be a large leap to imagine that he's converted to Islam. And again, I don't think that is, although I think to a lot of your listeners that would be big and shocking news, I think the news is that conversion was the culmination of the work of people in Saudi Arabia who work for the Saudi government. And that makes John Brennan just naive, foolish, dangerously ignorant, and totally unfit for this position.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're with John Guandolo at the bottom of the hour here, 3:28. And, John, I got to do a little bit of housekeeping here. We're going to set up a video we want you to take a look at. And some of my questions to you just now, John Guandolo, were rhetorical because, I know the work you do. I know the professionalism you put in. I know the commitment you have to the country. And, I saw a little bit of the background on this. So I am very comfortable because this thing is going out now to the whole world, and it's a very serious accusation. And I know we're qualifying it. I know we ought not be surprised because the policies and activities and behavior absolutely are consistent. Tell me when. We're good? Oh, are consistent with the thesis. John Brennan converted to Islam, but it's still shocking. That has nobody knows that. That's not any sort of public record.